Doechii recently launched her project Alligator Bites Never Heal, and it broke an interesting rule in launching which the internet has been talking about. And for us to understand how this happened and what the chatter is all about, let's take it back to the very, very beginning. Doechii is an American rapper, singer, and songwriter from Tampa, Florida. She started writing poetry at a very, very young age, which later evolved into songwriting. She then attended an arts high school where she honed in her performance skills, and then it's when she was in this high school that she started gaining initial recognition through SoundCloud releases and local performances. But how did Doechii rise to the mainstream? I'll say Doechii's rise to prominence was marked by a series of strategic moves. There's many of them, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to list out 7 of them. The first one is in 2020 when she released her independent EP, All the Places You Will Go. And I believe this EP was really, really crucial in showing her style. You can see that she's very eclectic, she's animated, she's quirky, but also you can see that she can write as well. The second thing was her song, Yucky Blocky Fruitcake. I don't even know how to say this song. It's such a mouthful, but it went viral on TikTok in 2021. And I believe that's when her fan base started expanding. People started to know who Doechii was. And it's through this viral TikTok that she started catching the attention of major labels. So in 2020, she signed to TDE, which I believe is the label that Kendrick Lamar was in, and SZA is on that label as well. And through this label, she released another EP in August 2022. And this EP also helped further establish her unique artistic style. That's how you will say it. And then in 2022, she was part of the freshman class on XXL. And I believe this also helped propel her to a new audience outside of TikTok. And following that, throughout 2022 and 2023, she kept releasing a string of singles and collaborations. And everybody started, not everybody, but many people started knowing who Doechii is. But funnily enough, this is not even part of the most interesting part that we have to talk about on this video. The most interesting part of her career happened this year. So this year, a lot of people dropped albums, from Big Sean to Latto to Ice Spice to JT to Chloe and a whole lot of others. There were so many albums dropped this year. And every time it doesn't do well, people usually blame the launching, the launch strategy, the rollout. They keep saying that these people are not creating too much hype for their albums. They're not out there talking about their albums and everything else. And immediately after that, they'll move on to the next album to critique. But Doechii's case was interesting, or is interesting. She too did not do too much hype or anticipation, and she too did not sell as much. I believe it was 11K that she sold, but for her the narrative is a bit different. Because when we got to Doechii, it's like a different conversation altogether. Let me explain. So like I've previously said, she didn't do too much of the whole hype thing, even though she did some things as well. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of people dragging her for her low sales or saying all sort of things, they're singing her praises instead. It's like the music was so good that people couldn't just ignore it. Even the numbers were not huge or anything, the sales were not huge, but the music was really good. By the way, I've listened to the album as well. It's really, really good. And 2 of my favorite songs are, I think it's Denial is a River, something like that. Oh yeah, it's Denial. Let me check the album while I'm speaking. So it's Bullfrog and Denial is a River. Those 2 are my favorites. And it seems like people just love this album. Critics are loving it. They're calling it fresh. They're calling it innovative, all the good stuff. And it's not even just the critics. Like, other artists are also talking about Doechii. She's getting like shout outs and respect from big names and everybody on Twitter as well. Social media are using her song. Her songs are on TikTok. People are pushing it. You know, there's not much of a marketing push, but at the same time, it feels like people didn't just move away from the album like they did the others. They talked about it, but they're still talking about it. And as I'm making this video, I can see that she's out there after the album has been launched. She's done Fashion Week. She's on some magazines. She's performed at the VMAs. And even Beyonce named her as one of the people she's currently listening to. And this got me thinking. It's like Doechii has flipped the script on something that I know, but it's confirmation from her. She's showing us that the launch product, if it's so good, it can speak for itself. It's like she's gaining more respect despite the low sales. And that tells me something, that maybe in her future launches, it will do well sales-wise. And I think when people talk about the others and they say, oh, this album didn't do well because of the hype or something, they don't talk about the product that much. But with Doechii, it's like, even though we're in a world of instant gratification, it shows that her product, it seems, cement her. People are liking her. It seems like she will get a more dedicated following in that, and it will help her in the long run. So I said all of that to say, Alligator Bites Never Heal, it's different. It showcases that if you have an authentic product, you can generate impact and respect in the long run, even without you doing the traditional launch and the hype and everything. It's the launch product. And sometimes it's not the launch strategy. It's the launch product itself that will create the more impact.